Have you ever wondered which Hollywood stars lost their careers to addiction? These are the stories you don't often hear. Behind the glamour, behind the camera, behind the bottle, Richard Burton's thunderous voice and commanding presence made him one of Britain's greatest actors. But behind the power and poetry was a man spiraling into addiction. His stormy marriage to Elizabeth Taylor, marked by passion and chaos, was often soaked in champagne and whiskey. He'd show up to rehearsals half-drunk, turning brilliance into unpredictability. Despite 7 Oscar nominations, producers grew wary. Even after health scares and attempts at sobriety, Burton always returned to the bottle. He died at just 58 of a cerebral hemorrhage. He was a brilliant performer worn down by a habit he could never shake, proving talent alone couldn't save him. Speaking of brilliant performers, remember Leonard Nimoy? At the height of Star Trek's original run, Nimoy was drinking heavily to deal with the pressure and sudden fame. The uniform, the conventions, the fans, it was overwhelming. I was self-medicating with alcohol, he later admitted, haunted by memories lost to blackouts. His wake-up call came when he couldn't remember appearing at entire events. He joined Alcoholics Anonymous and remained sober for over 30 years. In sobriety, he found new passions: photography, poetry, and peace. While Nimoy found clarity in recovery, Oliver Reed ran headfirst into chaos. The man larger than life was rarely seen without a pint in hand. Known for marathon drinking sprees that stunned even seasoned drinkers, Reed once famously downed 106 pints in 48 hours. His life was as dramatic off-screen as on, with directors often filming him early in the day before the bottle took over. His final binge in Malta ended in a fatal heart attack. At 61, the beast was finally tamed. His scenes in Gladiator were completed with CGI, a surreal end for cinema's last great Hellraiser. Reed wasn't the only poetic soul lost to the bottle. Peter O'Toole had it all, yet his struggle with drinking was equally legendary. At one point, he was consuming 3 bottles of whiskey a day, a rate that would flatten most men. He drank with poets, actors, and strangers, living every day as if it were a scene from one of his films. In the 1970s, doctors gave him weeks to live due to cirrhosis, yet he defied the odds and lived to 81. He eventually gave up drinking, but by then, the fire had dimmed. His honorary Oscar was bittersweet. Recognition of a career that nearly drank itself into the grave. What more could he have become had he conquered it sooner? If O'Toole burned slow, Robert Shaw blazed out. His gravelly voice and haunted stare brought characters like Quint in Jaws to life. But much of his on-screen fire was fueled by whiskey. He was infamous for drinking during shoots, often finishing bottles between takes. He did all this while somehow managing to deliver gut-punching performances. His legendary USS Indianapolis monologue in Jaws was performed while visibly drunk, giving it an eerie realism. Friends and directors watched him burn the candle at both ends, knowing the flame would not last. He died of a heart attack at 51. He was worn down by years of relentless drinking, leaving behind roles as fierce as the addiction that consumed him. Much like Shaw, John Michael Vincent was Hollywood's golden boy, handsome, charismatic, and poised for superstardom. At his peak on Airwolf, he earned $200,000 an episode, yet the money vanished almost as fast as it came. Vincent's descent into alcoholism was swift and brutal. DUIs, bar fights, and a near-fatal crash that shattered his career. He went from teen idol to tabloid tragedy, losing roles, relationships, and eventually his health. By the end, he was reclusive, missing limbs from circulation issues linked to drinking. When he died at 74, few were surprised. It was a slow-motion fall. His name now sits less in movie credits and more in cautionary tales, as a stark reminder that fame can vanish faster than a bottle drains. Vincent might have stumbled into trouble, but Errol Flynn charged into it. He didn't just play swashbucklers, he was one, off-screen and on. His devil-may-care attitude extended to his drinking, which he once described as a lifestyle, not a vice. Flynn arrived on set still reeling from the night before, often needing hours to sober up before shooting. Hollywood indulged him until his body couldn't keep up. At 50, he died of a heart attack, and the coroner remarked that his insides resembled that of a man twice his age. Flynn's legend lives on, but so does the echo of a life lived too fast, too recklessly. Just like Vincent, Charlie Sheen's meltdown was less a spiral and more a supernova, flaming out in real time, streamed to the world. During his infamous Tiger Blood era, Sheen turned alcoholism into spectacle. He was fired from 2.5 Men, torched millions on parties, and proudly declared himself winning while clearly losing. At one point, he claimed to have spent over $250,000 on alcohol in a single year. Eventually, even Hollywood, which is famous for second chances, turned its back. Sheen went to rehab and found sobriety, but the damage was done. His career now serves as a bizarre footnote in modern celebrity excess. Behind the memes was a man spiraling, drowning in the very spotlight that once made him a star. And as Sheen spiraled, Matthew Perry quietly fought his own battle. He made the world laugh as Chandler Bing, but off camera, he was drowning in vodka. At the height of Friends, Perry was drinking 2 quarts a day and disappearing into blackouts between takes. Years of drinking left him with health complications, including multiple surgeries and a colostomy bag, though he achieved sobriety and became a vocal advocate for recovery. His sudden death was a heartbreak. Fans saw in him a man who tried desperately to outrun his demons. Perry's legacy is one of laughter, but also of honest struggle in the face of addiction. Let's now switch gears to Michael Landon. He may have been TV's wholesome frontman in Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven, but behind the lens, his reality was far less family-friendly. Known for his charm and rugged good looks, Landon was also known to knock back vodka like it was water. His drinking was tied to intense mood swings, and crew members whispered about the tension on set when Landon was on one. He masked his pain with bravado and booze, privately dealing with infidelity, health scares, and creative battles. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer at just 54, he died shortly after. From TV's most beloved dad to Hollywood's lost daughter, Lindsay Lohan. She was Hollywood's brightest young starlet until the party swallowed the promise. After Mean Girls and Freaky Friday, she could have had any role in town, but instead, she became a fixture at every club in Los Angeles. Booze, arrests, ankle monitors. Her fall was fast, public, and brutally unforgiving. Paparazzi captured every stumble, every DUI, every mugshot, until her talent was buried beneath tabloid headlines. Film sets became battlegrounds, with directors bailing after endless delays and hangovers. Though she claims sobriety now and has staged quiet comebacks, the industry no longer rolls out the red carpet for her. Lohan's story is a modern tragedy. The girl who had it all and watched it swirl down a bottle of vodka. While Lohan made headlines, Bernard Lee drank in the shadows. Lee was best known as the original M in the James Bond franchise, a stern face of authority in a world of suave espionage. But while he held it together on screen, off screen, he was battling personal demons with a bottle always close at hand. Lee's life was marked by quiet tragedy. After losing his wife in a house fire, his drinking escalated, and so did the toll on his health. He remained professional, often delivering solid performances even when nursing hangovers. But as the years passed, so did his ability to bounce back. By the time he died at 73, he had become another quiet casualty of slow-burning addiction. He was proof that even the most buttoned-up personas can be unraveling behind the scenes. Could their brilliance have thrived without the weight of addiction? What might they have achieved if the bottle hadn't come first? We'll never know. But their stories remind us, fame doesn't always come with freedom.